Hey everyone, my name is Rachel from Mark My Woods Book Publicity, and I'm here with author Stacey Marie Brown to go ahead and discuss her collector series. Say hi, Stace.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Cool. So we're gonna get right to it and kick it off with these oh so fun questions. So the first one is from Ariana, and if I say the name wrong, I'm sorry. She wants to know, when you started writing the Darkness series, what made you think of such an elaborate story?
As an author, it's one of those things that I think the story takes over you. I never actually sat down and thought, I don't sit and plot things out. So at the time, I just kind of wrote the first one. It kind of came to me. And then I have a great sounding board. My mom, I love her. And she's great at looking at the logic of things. She'll come back with questions and I'll be like, and just talking to her briefly, I'll go off on this whole other tangent that I didn't realize I was going to. So they kind of do themselves. My characters have an acting background, a directing background. So my characters are always moving in my head and they're always kind of just doing improv, and they'll tell me where it's going to go, and they always know better than I do. So I
Nice.
can't tell. That's a hard question to answer. Like, it just comes to me. And
Do you, kind of along that lines, do you think of all of your plot twists as you're writing, or do you carefully plan them out?
I wish I was more of a I wish I planned. Sometimes I have to admit, as anybody, you can sometimes write yourself in the corners, giving somebody too much power, then you're like, well, they could just get out of that. So no, I'm actually really by my pants kind of person. I tend to go back and, I have a basic outline. Like, I'll know where I need to go. But again, like I said, they are characters in my head and they are so strong, and they tell me, a lot of times I'll go into a scene thinking, okay, we got to go there. And they'll be like, I don't think so. And they'll take me the other way. And it'll end up being better, and probably a better plot, twist will come from that because I just allow them to. So no, I'm a total pantser. There's some things that, as you just need to have no matter what, because that, the story would, not make sense without it. But other than that, I let them go.
Nice. So, next question is from Emma. What was your motivation behind Corrigan coming into the group?
Corrigan. I've always loved fun characters, especially I'm very sarcastic and very, I love that kind of banter. And he was just someone, again, that when I was writing, I just started thinking of somebody that would be a great, opposite with helping stir the pot a bit. And again, I wish I could say that, I came from, it came from this person I know. They just, again, come to me. Corrigan was, again, one of those great characters. And the more I developed him, the more I loved him and wanted him in the story. I didn't, at first I think he was just supposed to be like a kind of a plot device, to help me move along the story. And then I ended up going, he's never leaving. Like, I love him. Like, the badass pirate, who doesn't, right?
Exactly. She says he's so mysterious, and we got a glimpse with him and Zoe. So will there be lots more of him?
There will be. There's he becomes, very like I said, I didn't want to get rid of him, so his story keeps going. I like to leave a lot of mystery of things. I'll hint at his past, but his past is not something you ever really learn about. But he's definitely in this last book all the way through. And then, you learn, there's always hints of his sarcasm that you learn, that he's always been kind of a fun bad boy. So yeah, he's definitely in this book.
Nice. So. Emma has another question of, would you ever do a crossover with some of your other characters from this world? I would love to see Riker and Eli. I think after a testosterone-filled moment, they could be friends.
I don't know. Maybe not. I will say that in this last book, there is a crossover one character. I'm not going to say who. It's not Eli. I'll say that, but it's definitely somebody that makes sense. And so, there might be, something down the road I might be planning or not planning. I don't know. So.
Mysterious. Jenny has a question. What is your approach to editing after the first draft? I imagine it comes out perfect.
Crying, hitting myself, lots of it's funny. I think everybody has a different way of writing the first time. Some people just get the words out. They'll do that speed writing. I can't. I've never been one of those person. I'm even when in my design aspect, when I used to, do design, I had to find the perfect chair in the room, even if it wasn't going to be seen by my teacher. So I'm one of those that I kind of do editing as I go, and that's probably why it takes me a little longer. But like if I notice like I already mirrored it, a couple words, I'm already like, oh, I'll change that now. So by the time my first draft it's probably most people's third draft. And then I go through it a couple more times. I have, somebody look at it just to get like, is this okay? And then it goes to my developmental editor, and then I'll get it back to correct it and change things. And then it goes to my, other editor. So it's a definite, it's a longer process than people think. Like my book can be done in March and it won't come out till June because, that's just editing process. So.
Makes sense. Susan has a question. What do you do when the dreaded writer's block strikes?
That I am actually very walks. I can't tell you. Thank God I lived in great, beautiful cities, but mountains or by the ocean. I need to, I realize a lot of times that the longer I sit and I'll get angry is as soon as I start walking, even if it's a walk home, all of a sudden the thoughts just start going. I'm a definite, I can't say exercise, like, when I'm at the gym, that's when I'm there. But when I'm out in the wilderness or just walking, that's when my writer's block, I feel like I'll get music on that I really, I feel like I'll listen to Black Keys or something like that, that really, stems the mood from the books, and I can just, I'll take a writing pad and my writer's block. And then, my good friend, Nikki, like we'll meet up and we'll sit and we'll go for a walk, and we really having somebody to kind of get you out of the, asking questions and stuff like that. So, but most of the time if I'm by myself, I just need to get out of my head. That's, to me, I'm overthinking. I need to just relax, go away for a while.
Makes sense. She has a second question of what is your favorite go-to snack while writing? Or do you even snack while writing?
I actually don't. I'm one of those, I know most authors do, but I'm one of those, like, I get so in the zone. And if, like, to me, when I'm eating, like, I have sticky fingers or, like, I'm just crumbling and then it's all over my keyboard. And I don't know, like, I'm a big drinker, like, and like coffee. Yeah, I'm Hemingway. I'm actually one of those that sometimes will forget to eat, and then by the time later, then I'll pound it back later. But no, I'm actually, when I'm in the zone, I don't. Snacking, just to me, then it becomes that my focus becomes anything else than just getting in the zone. So no, I actually don't have a favorite snack when I write. That was a favorite snack in my life, yes. So.
Nicole has a question, and she wants to know, will you write another spin-off series?
Well, definitely. I'm writing, you mean collector series or, like, cause, I don't know if the collector series is getting a spin-off. But again, there may or may not be something along the roads that Zoe and Riker do come back. But, I don't think, as of right now, I know some people are hinting at Kurgan. There's a lot of books and stories in my head, and I think I want to move on. Again, I never say never to anything. So if someday I feel like his story needs to be told, I will do it, but right now, no, not in the collector series.
She has another question, and she wants to know, how can you become a test reader, or I think she means a beta reader, for reading your books?
I actually don't have any. I know some people, it's a different process, but that's where my developmental editor comes in, and I have my mom is my best editor, like in the sense of like going, this is crap, so I just think there's a lot of opinions, a lot of people want a story to go, and it just needs to come from my heart. And so I just have a couple people that I trust. So I'm sorry, I don't have beta readers.
So Micheline, and I think I just butchered the name, so I'm really sorry, has a question that I'm sure everybody is kind of wondering. When is the next collector book from Burning Ashes being released?
I don't know. Maybe you should ask my agent. Rachel, when's my next book coming out? She's like, take a drink.
I don't know. To be determined.
I think if you guys want to know when the next one's coming out, you sign up for my newsletter. Those are going to be the first people that find out. So leave it at that.
Shelby has a question. Hi, Cece. One of the questions I have is, will we learn more about Riker's dad? and his relationship with his mother?
A little bit. Again, I like leaving things a little mysterious, a little like you don't have to know the whole story to get why Riker is the way he is. There would definitely be, obviously Vadic is part of that world and he's in there. So there's definitely going to be more, relationship, him dealing with that, but not, and the mom, I think, it's kind of more of a hinted thing. So no, not especially, getting back into it. There'll definitely be more talk of it, but I think, we understand where Riker's character comes from, but, we'll see. I don't know. You guys may feel different.
Another question she has is, will we find out what happens to Annabeth?
Yes. I'll leave it at that. Yes. She's definitely in the story.
Nice.
I try to, believe me, all of my characters, I try to make sure you get the least understanding. As anybody that's read my stuff, I'm not a bow person. I don't believe in pretty bows. I believe in more real life. There will definitely be, I try to make it a conclusion enough that people feel gratified by it, but I'm just not a happy bow person.
Laura has a question of, when you wrote the Darkness series, did you know you were going to write the Collector series with the Electrical Storm connection?
That's actually a great question, because I was, third or fourth book of the Darkness series. When I was I was coming from an event, an author signing event, and I was in an airport, like a random airport, and I think my flight was delayed. And I don't have any idea, but I'd always had this thing of like, God, I would love to get to know more of what happens. Because with Ember, you don't ever really get to know what happens to those people, how she affects their lives. You understand it from her point of view, but you don't understand, she really, there's a lot of lives she affects. And so I was really like, just in my head, kind of thinking about, where after my third or fourth book, after I knew it was going to end, where I was going to go. And I'm like, God, that'd be so fascinating to learn more about that, about her, about the people she affected. And for some reason that, I thought her magic, again, like it was one of those like, bing, and, moments that I just kind of took, and it, kept developing. I'm sure it started out very thin, and I just kept developing it. And so no, when I first wrote it, it was something later that came to me but I always knew when I wrote The Storm that I kind of wanted to go. I liked, but I was like, I was kind of disappointed Ember didn't get to know that world. So I knew maybe writing the next one, I wanted to go into that world.
Cool. She has another question of, have you ever had any weird reactions from the public when you write in a coffee shop, like reading over your shoulder or someone noticing expressions you're wearing that relate to the theme that you're writing?
I'm sure there is. I can't tell you. Sprig, of course, how many times I've laughed out loud because, my mom's like, Stace, you wrote him. And I'm like, no, he's totally himself. Like, I don't write Sprig. He writes himself, and so I'll laugh out loud in the thing. But I have to admit, probably the most uncomfortable is when you're really into the sex scenes and you're like, whew, wow. Looking around, taking a drink, you're like, everybody's acting normal. Do you know what these people just did? So no, I've never had anybody try to read I've tried a few times to edit when I've been flying, and I found that a few people try to lean over. You can tell they're reading there. So no, I tend to not do that anymore. But at the coffee shop, they don't normally try to read it. But I think a lot of times they'll like when I burst out loud, laughing, people are like, okay, she's crazy. I'm like, I'm okay with that. So. Even if they are looking at me, I don't really care.
Back to Ariana, she has more questions. Did you plan it when the rumor was mentioned in the Darkness series?
When the what was?
When the rumor was mentioned in the Darkness series. That was one of them.
I don't know which rumor.
It goes on to, is Zoe really dead?
Oh, that you're going to have to find out. That one is for the next, maybe not. And so anybody that has known me, they're like, I am I'm cruel, I'm evil,
Mhm.
you know. So I don't like giving him plot points away.
Okay. What was the pop sound she heard as she died?
See, again, that's just she's trying to like weasel in there. Um, maybe something breaks and I won't say what, but so again, you'll find out in the next one. It's right at the beginning, so you can't miss it.
And how do we find out about when that next one comes out again?
Signing up for my newsletter.
We'll post the link for that in the comments on YouTube for you guys.
Yes.
Moving on to some other questions from some other people. Susan has another question. How many times during the writing process does your family enjoy pizza for dinner?
I'm single. I live by myself, so me and my actually this is my little buddy. He has to cook dinner for me. No. So I don't have kids or anything. That is one thing I respect more than any is, authors that have children. I have 3 nieces that I'll go visit, and I'll always think, oh, I'll write. Oh, I do not know how mothers write, so they take up so much of my time. So I don't have to worry about dinner. I get it when I need. So, but yeah.
That's good. Do you write in family and friends into your characters? And if so, which character is most true to life for you?
The only 2, I will bring names in. A lot of Kate and all these, Thara, like all these people, well, it's Tara, but I'll name people. Like, and Maya's one that I have a good friend, but I'll make sure their personality is different. Like, I just kind of like, either I use your personality or I'll use your name. The only 2 people I've ever were written and based off people were Cal and Simmons in the Darkness series. And my dad lost Cal. It was one of the guys, I grew up with him, and he was one of my dad's best friends, and he passed away. And it was just one of those things that he was a larger than life character. He was that crazy and nutty and fun. And it was one of those things. It was kind of an honor to Cal, and then just also because he's such a character that I was just like, God, I'd love to put him in. And then Simmons was another one of my dad's good friends that they're so opposite, but we're such good friends too that it was just fun to write them. So, and I tease them every time I see them that they're little pixies. These big men are like, so yeah. So Cal and Simmons are the only 2.
Laura has another question. I know you kind of already answered this before a little bit, but she wants to know, do you plan the major plot line for your series before starting, or do you just follow the flow of your characters entirely? So kind of tying into your last question about it, do you plan everything, or do you know exactly where the story's going to go, or your characters tell you?
I keep wanting to, every time I start a new book, keep telling myself I'm going to plan more. And it never ends up going that way. The best plot twists I've ever had were things that I just let them do. So again, I do the basic structure. Like, I know, a lot of times what I do is I'll write the end. I don't go like start at the beginning and write all the way. I'll write this scene. It's whatever scene's in my head, I'll write out. So a lot of times I'll do write the beginning and the end. So I know, like, okay, I know I have to get there, and this major thing has to happen in the middle. So how do you get to those? So then I'll let them kind of do their own thing in between that. And, most of the time for me so far, it's been really lucky. It's worked out that they've been very strong characters, that they know what they want to do. So.
Good. Yeah. She has another question of, are you influenced or inspired by the world around you when you come up with your characters or scenes? So kind of tying into your true life.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't think you can write without being affected by, people you see on the street, movies, TV, music. Sometimes it's literally just an essence of a character that I've seen on TV that I find fascinating, and I'll kind of go off that, or just a song lyric, and it's a feeling, like the song gives me this kind of like mysterious like feeling that I'm like, God, and so I'll push that into a character. So again, I can't say like I take, I see one person and I take that whole, character. I'm more of just kind of influences by everything. And again, they come to me like their voices. I mean, I hear them, the way they, you know, say phrases, the way they, you know, sit in their chair. Like, again, it's an entire movie in my head, how they act. And so I'd probably be the worst author in the world to work with if my movie, you know, my books ever got movies, because I'd be like, nope, no, they don't work. They don't work, because I can just see how they move and talk, and, you know, so yeah, it's just everything. I think it's, you know, a feeling, music, people, movies, TV, so everything.
What of your own quirks make it into your characters?
Oh, again, you know, I can write opposites, but I think everything, that was what I learned in acting, is there's every part of you, there's something of you inside, you know, people, like, I can never murder. You put a mother, you know, mother that has a child and that child threatened, you'll find some, you know, there's so many aspects of us where, you know, the humans are very fascinating. And so, no matter, even if it's not me necessarily, like, I love Zoe, but I've never hit somebody in my life. You know, I'm the biggest coward. I'm like 5'9" coward there is, you know. But I think Ember is the most like me. I think, you know, my first book, she kind of came out strong and sarcastic. And so, but I think all my characters, which is funny because I find it very easy to write the guys. I don't know if, you know, what that tells me. I mean, but, you know, I think there's aspects of me in all of them. Yes.
And she also wants to know, how did you come up with Sprig?
Oh, I don't know. Like, again, again, when I was developing this, I kind of, you know, I enjoyed the Callan Simmons aspect of just having that. And I was just like, but I knew I didn't want, you know, like, I knew I had to do something totally different so nobody would be comparing, or, and I just, you know, and I was starting to develop the whole government thing and stuff. And so I don't know where the monkey, I think because they are very human, you know, they're the closest to us. And I knew, like, in him talking and having that kind of thing. And then narcoleptic, you know, just kind of came to me, the honey, again, you know, when I, you know, just kind of along the way, you know, adding more and more things, and his, you know, he just became stronger and stronger. And then he entirely took over. Like, I mean, now I can't, like, Sprig is such an entity in my head that this is embarrassing, but there is a scene in the future from Burning Ashes that literally I woke myself up 3 a.m. laughing hysterically. And I phoned my mother the next day embarrassed, because I was like, who does this? Who wakes themselves up laughing at their own, you know, I'm like, their own character in their head. But he is so funny to me. Like, he's so, like, I don't write him, he writes himself. So it was just funny. So there is a scene in the book that, and it's not about honey, but he woke me up, like, I was laughing hysterically, and I'm like, this is so embarrassing and sad. You know?
I swear, if you ever get a monkey, you have to name it Sprig.
What?
If you ever get a monkey, you have to name it Sprig.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, I don't believe in that.
Alrighty, back to Ariana. She has a couple more questions. Is From Burning Ashes also in both Zoe and Riker's perspectives?
No, this one's back in Zoe's. You know, I kind of just wanted that aspect of, because they were torn apart last book, that I wanted to, you know, have, you know, I was thinking about doing you know, his story as a, you know, one of those novelette, you know, and I'm like, you know what? No, because some people don't ever read those. And I wanted people to know his background, to understand him and see what he went through. So that was the only reason I divided it, you know, them being split. But it's back in Zoe's point of view.
Great. This, I don't know if you'll answer this one. You wrote about 2 Fae artifacts, the Sword of Light and the Stone of Destiny. Do you plan to make series about the next 2 Fae artifacts?
I don't know. There could be something in West's story, or there couldn't be. I don't know. I know. It's funny because they always say that. I'm like, I'm okay with that.
It's a surprise. It's good.
People, it's good. I don't, you know. Yeah, I don't think you guys should know yet.
I think that's about it. I think I got everybody's questions in. Do you have any last minute things you want to tell us about From Burning Ashes? Anything you're really excited about?
Well, I mean, of course, I'm excited for it to release and the whole story, but I think I'm sad with this one because I don't plan, you know, to, this is the end of Zoe and Riker, and I've fallen so in love with them. And I have to admit, Sprig is a hard one to let go and, and to compete with. But West's story is coming along so right now, like, I'm way over halfway and it's just flowing out. And I, again, just got a great twist that's happening with his. So, and I like that, they're all, you can read them all together and you don't have to read them all together. So, but there is definitely a theme with all my stories that, connect them. So, but I'm just excited, for this last one, to come out and how people respond, you know.
I am too. Alrighty, well, why don't you tell everybody again where they can find out a win from Burning Ashes is going to come out. And then we'll
go on my website, www.stacymarie.brown.com, and it's on the right-hand side, and it's under my newsletter. Just sign up for it, and you guys will be the first to know when it's going to be released.
Yay! Alrighty, well, thanks so much for sitting and chatting with me, and have an awesome weekend.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thank you for the questions.